only Asian and ethnic radio station. This is Southampton's Unity 101, your community station.
From the Sky News Centre at 3, the government insists security issues have been addressed as it approves China's new super embassy in London. Based at the former Royal Mint site, it's faced opposition because it's so close to internet cables that support the City of London. The heads of MI5 and GCHQ have written a letter warning it would not be realistic to eliminate every risk. Security Minister Dan Jarvis is trying to assure MPs.
While some would stick their heads in the sand, this government is engaging with China confidently and pragmatically. And to be clear, this is not a question of balancing economic and security considerations. We don't trade off security for economic access.
A man who tried to murder a police officer with a chainsaw in Renfrewshire has been jailed for 10 years. The judge described 32-year-old Liridan Castrati's actions as like being from a horror film. The UK will press ahead with plans to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, despite Donald Trump calling it an act of great stupidity. The US president says the decision is one of many national security reasons why he wants to take control of Greenland. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch disagrees with that, but isn't happy with the Chagos Treaty.
This is surrendering British territory with a strategic military base on it for no reason whatsoever. It weakens our country.
Comedian and actor Russell Brand's been granted bail after being charged with 2 new sexual offences, including rape. He's already pleaded not guilty to 5 original charges. The government ordered a watchdog to examine how schools enforce mobile phone bans. It's part of efforts to improve online safety for children, which may include banning under 16s from social media. And finally, Sir David Beckham's not addressed the family feud with his son Brooklyn, but says children make mistakes on social media and that's how they learn. His firstborn has spoken out for the first time, saying he doesn't want to reconcile with his family. That's the latest. I'm Chris Milligan.
Right across the city on FM and around the world online, this is Unity 101. Tube's hyperspeed broadband allows you to download movies and dramas in seconds for just £25 a month. Get started today at toob.co.uk.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Police and Crime Commissioners Community Hour. This programme contains phone calls and comments from members of the public and selected invited guests. And it's important to remember at all times that any views and opinions expressed are individual opinions from these people and not those on Unity 101. Educational, discussions, informative, entertaining. The Community Hour. This is Unity 101.
Welcome to the Community Hour on Unity 101, South's leading Asian and ethnic radio station, broadcasting on 101.1 FM, online at unity101.org and on DAB across Hampshire and Dorset. I'm Geeta Uppal, Senior Access and Outreach Officer at Southampton Solent University, and in today's Community Hour with my guests, the topic of discussion will be around the process of applying to university, choice of courses, support available at college and at university, and importance of open days, research, advice and tips for writing that very personal statement. We're joined by our guest, Angie Randall, Senior Student Recruitment Officer, Southampton Solent University, Fiona Thompson, Advisor for Careers, based at Southampton City College, which is part of the South Hampshire College Group, and Kitty Gray, who is an undergraduate student at Southampton Solent University. You can also be part of the discussion with your questions and comments, so please contact the studio on 023 8023 5055. So with this, I would like to welcome my guest. You're all very welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Great. Lovely to have you all here, and I'm going to start with you, Angie, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your role at Southampton Solent University and what does your team do?
Of course, yes. So I work within the UK student recruitment team. We work really closely with mainly post-16 students, doing lots of events and activities to try and encourage them to think about going to university. Could be bringing them on campus for taster days or big sort of multi-college events. Also going out to HE fairs, going out to colleges like Southampton College, doing talks, doing sort of personal statement workshops. Just trying to get young people and other demographics of students to sort of see university as a potential option for them.
Thank you, Angie. And over to you then, Fiona. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at Southampton City College and what does your team do?
Yes, of course. So I work as careers advisor at Southampton College, part of the South Hampshire College Group. We have other colleges part of South Hampshire College Group, and that's Fareham, Eastleigh, CMUST and CTEC. And we have other careers advisors who work for the big department in the other colleges. And basically we see students most days of the week for a careers appointment. We go into class, we talk about careers, we do presentations on careers, we bring in outside guests to talk about, but particularly and specifically HE, work with universities, get taster days organised so students can go over, all sorts of things, including lots of National Careers Week and careers fairs at different times of the year.
Great, thank you very much. And then over to you, Kitty, who is our undergraduate student. So can you tell us about your background and where you're from?
Yes, so I'm from Hampshire, so I didn't go particularly very far when choosing a university. But I'm from an area that most people don't even consider university. The college, as much as they told us about it, it's not something that's heavily pushed because of the area that my college was in. And I didn't actually consider university until I was 20. Right. I didn't think about it at all. And then I was like, hold on, I really enjoyed accountancy at college. Why don't I keep doing it? And now I'm doing it at university and I'm really enjoying myself.
Brilliant. So your course is accountancy and finance?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, Angie, just sort of staying with you then. As Kitty mentioned, she went to a college where, students didn't normally go on to higher education. So what is it that you do in order to support young people sort of think about higher education?
So I think a lot of it is about raising awareness and dispelling some of the myths as well about higher education. I think giving students, like potential students, access to the different courses, the different types of universities that are out there. I think there's no one type of university, so because there's no one type of student, so there's lots of different universities for lots of different types of students. So it's just making sure they're aware of their options. They might want to think about going, they might not, but just having the idea that it could be a possibility for them. Also, sort of dispelling some of the myths around student finance and showing them that actually university is affordable. And obviously there's, lots of benefits about going to university, the employability, the social side is great fun. Mm-hmm. There's so much you get from going to university. So just trying to encourage students to kind of really see the benefits of it.
Thank you. So Fiona, from your perspective, then obviously you're seeing these students day in, day out.
Absolutely.
So if somebody like Kitty came along to you and said, I'm not sure, people like, who from my background or where I come from don't really go to university, how do you encourage them or support them?
Yeah, so sort of talking to students, it's introducing what university is about. As an individual, you kind of talk through their options and look at what they were studying at the moment, what level they were at, whether they would be able to go to university that year and apply for it. And we talk a little bit applying on UCAS. But also the pros and cons a little bit, putting the pros first and saying, well, if you go to university, you'll meet lots of new people. It's the opportunities to have a slightly different kind of environment. Take them to talk about open days, take them to a taster day. And a lot of them are like, wow, I've never been anywhere quite like this. I always emphasise that if they want a particular university, it's probably best to visit on an open day, yes. Because they really get a feel of the place. Whereas, just looking at it, I know it sounds, but, just looking at it online, you're not getting a real concept of what that university is like. So lots of encouragement and just showing them their options, really. If you go to university, this is available and all these courses, depending on what they're studying at college at the moment. So it's introduction really all the time.
Brilliant, thank you. And you guys both mentioned open days and going to visit the universities, and we will touch upon open days and the importance of open days a little bit later. So Kitty, coming back to you, then tell us about your journey to university. So then why did you decide, you said you were enjoying accountancy. Mm-hmm. Why did you then think, you could have taken another route, perhaps an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So why university?
When I finished college, I finished at 18, and I went straight into the workplace, and I worked in an accountancy firm for a year. I then had to take a year out to help at home. There was an extra pair of hands needed around the house at that point. But I was like, hold on, I really, really liked the education and I wanted to keep going. And I liked learning in a more practical way, which is what I was doing when I was working. So when I saw that Solent was a lot more hands-on with how we learn, we do a lot more practical work than just the theory. That's what kind of was like, oh, hold on. I just thought a course like mine would be a lot of theory.
Yes.
Whereas Solent does it in a very, very practical sort of hands-on way, which is why I ended up where I am now.
Okay. So would you say that was a big influencing factor?
Yeah,
in terms of
that and the accreditation with ACCA, the main professional body for chartered accountants, and the exemptions I can get through my course, which will help me so much with my career and finding a job afterwards.
Great. So coming back to you then, Fiona, Kitty mentioned about accreditation of courses. Are your students aware of such professional qualifications or the bodies that help with qualifications? And how do you perhaps support them in that?
I think so. I think some of them, it depends a bit, personality, what they're studying, that kind of thing. I would hope that most of them are aware of it. The information is available.
Yes.
When I talk about UCAS, the majority of them will have a good look around and have a look at the courses and choices available. Perhaps a small minority would have to be have a bit more of a discussion about it.
Of course.
But when we do sort of the introduction to HE at the beginning of the term, which is kind of September time, when they start, I think, it is mentioned. It's just a case of how many times during the term you kind of reiterate it, because obviously being 16, 17, 18, they only remember a certain amount. I mean, but yeah, I think it's the introduction to HE, which is probably the best time to talk about it. So I would hope so, yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to come back to you, Angie. Some of the sort of challenges Kitty has sort of touched upon, and Fiona as well. But what, in your work, when you're sort of out there sort of talking to prospective students, what are the challenges and barriers that they may face or consider when they're thinking about higher education?
I mean, it's obviously quite individual, but I think obviously there's worries about the financial side of going to university. Also, can I work alongside going to university, which students absolutely can. Most of our students do. I guess sometimes it's a confidence thing. Am